Good morning, good morning. How's it going? Paul, Eva, Highlands, Yartex, Lenka, Mohammed. What's up, you guys? Good morning to some of you. Good afternoon to some of you. Stockfather, how's it going? All right, let's take a look at what we got. We've honestly just been chopping around since 4 o'clock Central. So since like 5 o'clock this morning, it hasn't really done much. I do have the overnight session volume profile up since we're kind of hovering at or near all-time highs, just to give us a little more volume information. I have a lot of like anchored VWAPs going on. So right now, obviously it's chopping and consolidating, and you would expect, as you would expect, it's chopping and consolidating between those VWAPs. So this darker blue one up here, that's the session VWAP anchored from the 6 p.m. open. The green VWAP is anchored from the high. And then this red VWAP is anchored from the low of today, this swing low at 5 a.m. So it's kind of consolidating in between there. And then we have this session point of control, this white line. It's sitting right below there. So I actually am in a short. It's a really small position. Kind of on the idea that we're rejecting VWAP, although sellers are not taking control of this thing. And hoping that we kind of return and get a pullback. I don't want to see it just blast off to all-time highs again from here, but that definitely could happen, and I'm okay with that risk. It's only a 13-point stop loss, and I have a small position. But that's why I'm in a short, is it was starting to reject this point of control, reject VWAP. I can't really say it was getting below this anchored VWAP from the low of day, because really it's just been chopping around it. It hasn't been holding below. So we'll see what happens at the market open. But zooming out a little bit, it does kind of look like a big flag. So this thing could just blast off to all-time highs again today. So if we get momentum at the open to the upside and we break through those VWAPs, we could be looking for longs. Ideally, I would love to see a pullback to this area. It's a high volume node at about 25,250. It's also where there's some support there. You can see anchored VWAP from yesterday's New York session. Like if we start to get a bounce at that level, I would look for longs. If we start to pull below that level, we could be going lower. We will find out. How is everyone doing? Hope you guys are ready for a good day. Y'all ready? We are. I'm not really a trend line person, but my eyes just see that's a pretty clean trend right there. Is it going to hold or is it going to drop? What do you guys think? So I'll be trading my Lucid Pro accounts with you guys today. So this TradeDay contest that I'm in, I had a really good day yesterday, and I finished, I ended up moving to third on the leaderboard. But then I traded it last night with gold and screwed up. I hit my daily loss limit, so I might go back down to like the bottom of number 10 or something. I don't know. Dumb. I don't know why I try with gold. It burns me every time. I want to be friends with gold. I had a daily loss limit set to like lock it out, so I didn't blow the account, but still sucks, man. I had such a great day in the New York session, and so it's like obviously the next day is when they post the leaderboard. So this morning they just posted the leaderboard from what I finished in the New York session, and I'm at number 3. But I'm like, well, you haven't looked at what I did last night. I messed it up last night. So that account is locked out. I won't be trading that with you guys today. Pulling up Financial Juice just to double check. Still, news events are getting canceled. So just a bunch of speakers today. And then a Fed community banking conference is going on all day. Something to be aware of. Obviously, if volume is low with government shutdown and all that, and Fed speakers could be choppy, and then all of a sudden big random moves if they make an announcement. We have more red folder news tomorrow too, but let's see if those get canceled. I haven't been keeping up with the news at all. I'm not a news person. Like, I haven't watched morning news since, I don't know, 20 years ago. And I don't read the paper or anything. So you guys tell me, how long is this government shutdown supposed to last? Any word on when it's opening back up? Yeah, I don't watch the news at all. I don't need to know that the world is evil, and I mean that's all they post is death and destruction. Yeah, there's bad stuff going on in the world, but I like to live in my little positive bubble and assume the best in people and like love people and focus on my family and the positives that I have around me. I don't need to, I'm not saying I'm naive. I'm sure it's coming out off that way, but most of the things that they have in their stories don't apply to me. And if I hear about it, it makes me feel sad. It makes me feel terrible. And it doesn't apply to me. Like it doesn't affect my life. So I don't watch it. Anyone know when the government shutdown is supposed to end? Like, have they given any ideas or indication, or is it like indefinite? Morning, Shez. No dates. Alrighty, fun times. I guess we're just waiting until they decide to get their act together, right? Oh, they last an average of 10 days. Good to know. All right, market's open in 1 minute. Honestly, the fact that I'm in a position and it's just chopping here, it's kind of a gamble. So I do have my stop loss up above that wick. We'll see what happens in 1 minute. Kind of just hoping it goes down so we do get a pullback. But it might not. Yeah, like I could see that's just an average, 10 days an average. Could last a lot longer than that. I realized I didn't have this on the screen. That would be a whole lot more fun to watch, right? So my target is that area that I was kind of watching for a possible bounce to go long. So let's see if it gets down there. See if I survive this little market volatility at the open. So this right here is the low of the day. That's the London low. Looks like it's bouncing and going back up. It bounced at the Asia low, which is this wick right here. So hopefully that was just a little liquidity grab and then it's going to go back down, huh? Maybe? Maybe? Yeah, Shez, you missed it though, the update on the competition. So I had a great trading day in the New York session yesterday, and that's how I finished third. But then I used that TradeDay account to trade gold last night and hit my daily loss limit. So I'll be dropping. I'm messed up. I'm trying to be friends with gold, but she doesn't like me. We're not friends yet. Goodness, this opening candle. It's looking like it wants to go down. My thought is that bounce was just the Asia low liquidity grab. And now we got that out of the way. Hopefully we get some continuation down. We'll see what happens at this London low. It would probably be smart to at least take one off, but I'd like to see it continue down. Destin Living, what I saw was there's just a pre-recorded speech, and that was at 8:30. Unless Financial Juice isn't updated, and maybe that's listed on like Forex Factor or something. I don't see Powell speaking live later today. Just the pre-recorded speech and then a bunch of other Fed speakers scattered throughout the day. If someone else sees something different, let me know. But that's what I'm seeing. All right, so came down to that London low. Let's see if we get continuation down or if that's where we're going to bounce and continue back up. This is kind of a sleepy open. Is it going to be like it was yesterday? I think that was yesterday, right? Where maybe it wasn't yesterday. It was Tuesday. Tuesday, where it was super choppy in the open for like an hour. And then all of a sudden the big move happened. Take no marvel, I did. I took off one at London low, waiting for continuation. So, reasoning for that target, it kind of looks like it's going to continue lower. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Don't want to speak too soon. It could still bounce. But reasoning for this target is it's a high volume node and kind of down towards yesterday's anchored VWAP. It might bounce though. Good morning, Waffles. It's hard to tell because this is a pretty slow moving open, but that doesn't feel like it's just going to bounce to the moon from there. Kind of a low volume bounce. It might continue lower. Take no marvel, that's a good question. If you tell me which prop firm you're planning on using, I can answer that question for you, but every prop firm has different rules in terms of the number of days and how you can qualify for a withdrawal. But basically, you meet their rules and you can withdraw. Some of them it's 5 days, some of them it's less days. It depends. So, which prop firm are you asking about? And I can answer that for you. Hovering around that low, the overnight low. Is it trying to hold or is it trying to go lower? Yep, yesterday's value area high. I think that's probably why we got a bounce there this morning. Looking heavy. We can start marking off our 15-minute opening range. And our anchored VWAP. Lots of indecision. Attendees, my opinion on Top Step. Have I ever traded with them, and what's my opinion? Top Step is one of the ones that's been around the longest. They're a good, solid firm in terms of their reputation. I have traded with them. My opinion, and this is going to be against the grain, honestly, my opinion is that they are kind of outdated, and there's a lot of firms that are more innovative and coming up with better pricing and better opportunities. I don't think Top Step is the best opportunity anymore. They're not cheap, so they kind of have a little gotcha because, like, for example, if you do the 50K account, it's only $49, but then you have an activation fee, so it ends up being $200 by the time you actually get your funded account. They have a rule where you can only withdraw a max of 50% of your profits, and then of that, there's a 90-10 split. I get the point. They're trying to help you build a buffer in your account. I get it, but for someone who's kind of a newbie and, you know, maybe it's your first payout and you're excited that you finally qualified for a payout and then they don't let you take a lot of it, that kind of sucks. And then opposite end of the spectrum too, if you're a really good profitable trader, they have a max payout of $5,000, which for someone who's like a baller, that's not that much. So that's my opinion. I mean, obviously they're a good firm. They've been around, but I think there's better options out there. All right, this thing's getting pretty heavy, so I'm going to scale out. Since it's not slowly inching down there, it's getting heavy. I'm going to take some off at that high volume node level I mentioned, and then I'm going to leave a runner down to point of control, which is 210. Might do a little liquidity grab at 234. So I'll kind of watch it. Yeah, I take no marvel. I chart on TradingView and then I take my trades on Project X. No, Old Cracker Barrel, there's quite a few that don't have a consistency rule. The futures desk and TradeDay, for example, once you pass the eval and you're in the funded stage, there's no consistency, no cap, nothing. You basically are trading it like your own capital. So there's quite a few options for no consistency rule. All right, trailing my stop loss a little bit more. I wonder if I put my first take profit target a little bit too low. Take Profit Trader is another one. Old Cracker Barrel. There's quite a few options. I'm not a huge fan of Take Profit Trader because they have intraday drawdown, but that's another option for no consistency rule. Yeah, I like the Futures Desk Journal. It's like a TradeZella built into your dashboard. It's pretty cool. This is going to sound dumb, but I actually trade better when I have a consistency rule because I think it makes me stop. Like, I have a profit target and I have to lock my account here because if I make too much, then I won't qualify for a payout. With like TradeDay, for example, Top Step, some of those ones where it's just like, make as much as you want. I don't know. I do better with handcuffs, I think. When I have the opportunity to just make as much as I want, it's really hard. Here's the greed coming out. I'm being transparent with you guys. It's hard for me to stop. I'm like, oh, I made $500. Why don't I trade again and try to make $800? Like, I just keep going. So when I have a hard stop where my consistency rule says I can only make this much, it makes me stop. And I take a lot more payouts with those kind of accounts. It's weird. It's something in my head that I need to fix for sure. Tradeify, awesome. Actually, they're really good. They have what I feel is a very fair price. My favorite is the growth account. So you hit a profit target in the growth account. Once you hit that, then you go to their funded stage, and at that point, it's a 35% consistency. I personally like doing that instead of the direct to funded, because that way, if you do the direct instant funded account, it's 20% consistency. So yeah, I like Tradeify. And then they also have a really solid reputation in terms of payouts and stuff. Like, they have really fast payouts. It's usually within an hour or so. I feel like they're very fair in terms of innovation. Like, they just came out with a new set of rules a couple weeks ago that actually made it more favorable for the trader, which is not very common. So yeah, I like Tradeify. They also have a flash sale going on right now, if you're not aware of it. They normally offer 30% off. That's kind of their standard discount. Right now, for the next 2 days, I believe, it's 40% off. So you can go use code Krista on their growth account and it's 40% off. I might have screwed this up, you guys. Is it going to bounce right there? The level I was watching? All right, I'm going to close this position because if it bounces, I'm annoyed. Highlands, if you do the growth account, there's no activation fee. If you do their advanced account, there is an activation fee. So I personally don't like their advanced account because it's intraday trailing drawdown and it has an activation fee. So that one's not my favorite. Going to enter along because that is what my trading plan was, a potential bounce at that 250 level. That's kind of what's happening. Targeting the top of the range. The top of the New York open range. Waffles. Oh my gosh, you were asking about the influencer contest. I screwed up. So yesterday I traded really well and I finished third. They just posted the leaderboard. I moved up to third place, but that was for trading during the New York session yesterday. I traded gold last night and did not do well. I hit my daily loss limit, so I'm going to be moving down on the leaderboard. I think it like reopened the wound, you know? Because I was mad at myself last night for the loss on the contest account. But then I kind of got over it when I woke up. And then this morning, they posted the updated leaderboard for yesterday. And, you know, of course, everyone's celebrating that I'm in third place. And I'm like, yeah, you haven't seen the leaderboard that's going to be posting tomorrow yet. Yeah. No, I'm not letting it get me down. I mean, you guys might not see this, but I'm definitely not trading that account like I normally do. I'm trying, but there's definitely some mental switch that's off. Having it be a 150K account, which I'm not used to, and having it be a contest account, so I'm kind of like, it's not my money, I don't care. And then also having the pressure of it, I wouldn't say pressure, like I'm not bothered by it, but just the publicity of having it like be posted all over X, just all those factors, it's making me not trade super well. It's all right. I'm just having fun with it. That's my mindset. Like I'm not trying to trade like a degen and just blow the account, but I'm also not my A game. All right. I was trailing my stop loss tight on that because I was not getting the vibes that it was continuing up. So I'm glad I did because something happened. Did some sort of news come out? Some Fed speaker said something? Where are we headed now? I'll adjust this because I ended up getting out somewhere around there. Our 15-minute opening range low sitting around here. So it rejected pretty much, I mean, there was lots of stuff intersecting where it rejected. That was the all-time high anchored VWAP, the session VWAP, and that trend line that I drew. Again, I'm not much of a trend line trader, but that line was just too clean to ignore. So yeah, that was a pretty clean rejection. It happened fast. Kind of wish I was watching it to enter. Zooming out, I still like this 250-ish level. I actually have an alert set there from last night. Let's see if it holds this general region. or if it continues lower. Yesterday's point of control down at 25,210 could be a magnet, could be pulling it down. No, Grumpy, I trailed my stop really tight and it hit my trailing stop loss in profit. So I'm up about $500 in this account. So far, it's holding the opening range low, but I think it's going lower. That's my thought. I personally wouldn't be ready to take a long yet. Had a pretty quick sell-off and rejection. Also, a lot of times if you do like a 15-minute opening range break trade, this right here, it wicked out and then got right back up, bought right back up. So that was kind of a fake out. A lot of times there's a fake out and then the actual move lower. So that's another thing that's making me think we're going lower. Since it did have one break and now this is the second break. The question though is this high volume node going to hold? Are we going to bounce from here or is it going lower? That's the part I'm not sure of, so I'm going to wait and see. But look at the 5-minute chart. I don't know. That doesn't look like a great situation for longs. Unless something changes. Oh, there it goes. You guys, this is wild. Wild open. We're getting that barcode action. This is a point for me where I know to sit out because I can make an argument for longs and shorts right now. Brandon, congrats. That's awesome, man. Good work. Well, we had a strong bounce off that 15-minute opening range low. Chopping around New York anchored VWAP right now. Looks like it's fighting to go back up. It's kind of what it looks like to me. All right, I'm going to try a short 267.75. It's continuing to try to break this range, and it's rejecting VWAP. Putting my stop loss above those wicks. See what happens at the bottom of this high volume node. If it keeps going down, could target point of control or even lower. But I'll watch this area if it gets down there. I don't know. That last 15-minute candle didn't give us any clues about where it's going. I don't like this. It's really trying to hold that low. And there's lots of reasons for it to hold here. Yesterday's anchored VWAP, that high volume node. All right, I'm closing out my short early. I didn't like the way it looked. Got out there. I don't like the shorts. I'm going to wait for more information. Still getting the feeling it's going back up. Looking at the 5-minute, super choppy. What is ES doing? Looks pretty similar. Had a decent sell-off in the open, and now it's chopping, maybe holding a level. Is that what you're talking about, G-Man? Did you get in a short on gold? Cool. Good for you. It's consolidating for a big move. Still looks like it wants to go up. If we insert here as an example, put stop loss below. If we went below these wicks, that's a big drop. Maybe down to range low, target range high. Not a great risk to reward. I don't love that. Let's just wait. Wait and see if it actually breaks VWAP or if it breaks outside of the 15-minute opening range. Man, if this thing is going to continue down, it does not want to break that level. $15-minute looks good for what? It looks pretty indecisive to me. I mean, there's wicks on the downside and it's holding that level, but there's also not continuation up. The chop continues. Trader Pro, for finding my levels, I zoom out as far as I need to get levels above and below. So it depends. Like right now, since we're sitting at all-time highs, I can go to the 15-minute chart, turn on my visible range volume profile, and like I can zoom out. There's no price action up here that far back. So the 15-minute, if I'm trying to get zones like right where we're trading, that'll give me all the price action information I need to get zones. But let's say price moved down to like, I don't know, 25K or like 24,800 or something like that. I'm on the 4-hour chart to get that information because it goes back to September. So really it just depends on where price is. Like if we come down to 24.5, I would need to zoom out even further. So basically I'm just trying to get levels above and below, a couple levels above, a couple levels below current price. And it depends on where price is to get all that information. I hope that answers your question. Or I hope I explained it well enough. But you want to try to get as much information as you can, because trading that happened 2 months ago still applies at that level. Or, even further back, 6 months ago. Well, again, it's looking like it's trying to hold this level, but there is no continuation up at this point. So kind of makes me think it's trying to continue down, but I don't want to try a short until it actually happens. It's just chopping right now with no answers yet. The one I was just talking about, Dustin Living, is the visible range volume profile, VRVP, the one with the volume on the right side. So visible, range, volume profile, that one under technicals. Are we ever going to move out of this chop? What in the world? Good morning, Rocket. Is this gonna be the one that actually breaks? Rocket, I'm torn, so I'm waiting for more information, honestly. We're hovering at this level, which is 15-minute opening range low. Also, the New York anchor VWAP from yesterday. And then higher time frame, this is a high volume node that I had marked off here. So we're holding above that level, but there's no continuation up. Like, buyers are not moving it up. The way we keep tapping this level makes me think we're going lower, but it could just be a big consolidation and we're just going to blast higher. So I don't know. Waiting for more information, honestly. Yeah, I would like to see it drop. Like, it's kind of looking weak. Just, again, the fact that it's holding this level, but there's no continuation up. I could see it coming down to maybe point of control. I have that at 25,211. Looking at the hourly, yeah. I mean, depending on how heavy it gets, if it actually shows signs of continuation, there's definitely a lot of levels to go lower. But I like this region right here. If you look at the hourly, either point of control or down to 25,196. If we can ever break below this level, if it breaks, it might get pretty heavy to the downside. Or if it breaks like VWAP and breaks to the upside, it could go crazy too. Whichever way it breaks, it's going to be a big one. It's not giving us any clues right now. Or if it is, then I'm not reading them. I'm not being a good detective today. We need more coffee for this. Can I fast forward? Ain't that the truth? You know, that makes me think of, that's actually why I stopped backtesting. So I did a lot of backtesting, you know, where you like turn on replay mode and do like 5x speed and wait for your setup and then pause it and mark up your levels and stuff. There it goes. All right, insert a short. 266.5 is my entry. Yeah, I stopped backtesting with that speed up replay because I realized it was making me very impatient with the live market. Because with backtesting, you can find like 15 setups in 2 hours. And then you get to the live market and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to sit here and wait an hour for something to happen or longer. Come on, stay out of this chop. Let's get this 5-minute candle to actually close outside of the range. I don't want any more wicks. This line right here is our 15-minute opening range low. It keeps holding above it. What the heck? We have our initial balance being set in 7 minutes. Our initial balance is going to be darn near the same as the 15-minute. No, it's going right back into the chop. This is ugly, guys. This 15-minute candle closes in 5 minutes. A nice bearish close would be nice. Oh, we got 99 people watching and 48 likes. No love. Hit that like button, guys. It's not that hard. No, I'm giving you a hard time, but seriously, that little click, it does help. With, you know, the YouTube algos and all that stuff. Three more minutes on this candle. And actually, 3 more minutes until the initial balance is set too. I do want to watch and see what happens at the bottom of this high volume node at like 235-ish. There are some wicks down here. Decent support area. That could be why, like, if this thing is trying to continue lower, this could be the support that's stopping it for now. Well, this is actually our initial balance high now, so I can update that. And then it looks like this is going to be our initial balance low. I don't know if this thing is actually going to continue a ton lower because of that support I was talking about, and now the initial balance is set. We'll see though. I'm in this thing. So I don't know if anyone else does this, but I do watch where like yesterday's VWAP finished, and you can see it ended up at like 25,193, and that's also where this high volume node is. So yeah, 25,200 might be a decent target. So this is actually our initial balance low, and we're continuing outside of it. Still could possibly get a failed auction. It could, I'm going to move my stop loss to break even at least. Could bounce into the bottom of that high volume node that I had and continue up. The bottom of the high volume node was 235. So let's see if it continues down or if it bounces here. It's not looking very bouncy. Let me look at my trading plan that I posted last night. I'll take off some there. I had, what was my level? I was thinking it could go down to like 25, 150-ish. So my thought originally when I posted this last night, looking at the charts, if it broke and held below this level, 25, 150 was my target then. See how this thing continues though. That's a big bounce. Getting back into the initial balance. That's the level I was talking about. It needs to break below. So far, it's holding. If this closes back inside the initial balance, could be a failed auction setup. Come on, keep going down. Man, if this thing stays heavy, you guys, taking another look at this, we really have all the way down to like 25, 100. You see that giant candle right there that hasn't really been retested? That's going to be where I leave my runner target. So on the 2-minute chart, this white line right here, that's the initial balance low. It broke outside of it, retested, and now we're continuing lower. So that's a decent sign for continuation. I'll trim my stop loss to that initial balance retest. And hopefully we get some more downside. If you guys are not in the Discord, you should join the Discord. But I posted an announcement in there. TradeDay has a flash sale going on right now. Today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day. 40% off their growth accounts. So that's a great deal because their standard discount is usually 30% and they don't run super big sales very often. So take advantage of that. Code Krista gets you that 40% off. Just on their growth accounts, which are my favorite accounts anyway. So, and TradeDay just added Project X, which is cool. Where are we sitting on the levels I have? So point of control is coming up here in a second. Kind of getting to the bottom of this high volume node. Hopefully it keeps going. High volume nodes right now are tough because they're not really quote unquote high volume. I'm kind of just, picking up breadcrumbs, I guess. They're tiny little spots that stick out. So that's why it's just cutting straight through these levels. The only trading that's happened is these last 2 weeks, October 6th. What is today? October 9th. 1 week. I don't even know what day it is. Where am I? What's my name? So yeah, it's really just been 1 week of volume. That's why it's easy to cut through these levels. You think NQ is going to go to 182? I'd love to hear your thoughts on why. I see that level, but just wondering what your reasoning is. This is a not low of day, but like this swing low anchored VWAP is sitting at 185. And then I do have a high volume node and I can look left and see this support here. So yeah, that's definitely an area of interest. Bouncing at point of control. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Yartex, value area low. Yeah, this general area. Really, if it breaks below value area low, there's a lot more downside. That's that big candle I was talking about So value area low is kind of the top of that fair value gap. So if that holds, that would be a good spot for it to bounce. If it doesn't hold that, then I could see it coming all the way down to 25,100. So it depends on how heavy this thing's going to get. On Discord, could you post a larger picture of marking levels like the 1 hour? I could, and I'm open to your guys' feedback. Whatever is easier for you to see, I'm happy to post it. My thought is, like, I'll go to the levels chart that I post for you guys. I usually take off VWAP so it's a little less noisy. And I take off the visible range volume profile to make it cleaner. Going to the 1 hour chart, I just feel like it would be hard to see where the actual levels are. Because when you zoom in this far, it looks like levels are like all the way down. Like this whole region is a level, right? But if you zoom into like the 15-minute or I don't know, and spread it out, you can see that there's separate levels. I don't know. Whatever is easiest for you guys. What are your guys' thoughts? What's better? I've been doing the 30-minute. Would you rather have me do the 1 hour? Okay. Yeah, like I said, if 1 hour is what you guys prefer, I'm happy to change it. I was kind of just trying to make it easier for you guys to see. So it got a little bounce off of that point of control. This is, I know I say this a lot, probably because I'm preaching to myself and reminding myself to stay on the 5-minute chart. But this is a good reason to stay on the 5-minute chart because it looks red. Like every candle is red. If you zoom into the 1 minute, this candle right here, it looked like it was bouncing off of that point of control. And I probably would have been like, oh no, we're bouncing. I need to close my position. Even on the 2 minute, before this 2 minute candle closed, that would have looked like a big bounce. So 5-minute is the way to be. The 5-minute is the way. Okay, cool. I'll leave it at the 30-minute then. All right, took off a couple at that 200 area. Well, I've taken one off. The second one's about to hit. So that is kind of where the anchored VWAP from that swing low is. There's also a high volume node there. So definitely want to take off some here. 171 is where I have yesterday's value area low. It's starting to bounce there. That's a pretty solid bounce. Bouncing at that high volume node. And the anchored VWAP from the swing low. Let's see how this candle closes. Don't want to let it go too far back up. Come on, let's get another red candle close. 2 minutes left. Make it happen. Good job, Rocket. All right, well, I may have screwed that one up, you guys. Looks like it's getting a good bounce right there. Probably should have trusted my levels a little more. All right, let's see what happens at initial balance low and see if it gets a sell-off from there or if this thing is just going to go back to the moon. I was wrong for continuation lower, at least at that point. It's quite the wick on this 30-minute candle. Dang, look at that 15-minute candle. Big old buy up right there. Woo-wee. Possible areas of interest to take a retracement short. Not doing it right now. But possibly a rejection at initial balance low, which is also the top of a high volume node at like 25 to 50-ish. or if it comes back up to VWAP and value area high at like 290. So these would be the two spots I would be watching for a potential short. For me, I personally wait until sellers show up though. I'm not the type to like set a sell order and just let it happen. I would wait for the reaction. You're long back to the 90s? Yeah, that's where VWAP is and value area high. I like that level for a possible short. Good long, Waffles. I should have taken more profit earlier. That was my bad. I just saw that red candle and was like, all right, we're going to the dumps. We're going all the way down. Verisat for the initial balance, I mark off the 15-minute opening range, and then I mark off the quote-unquote initial balance. That's typically the first hour of trading, so 60 minutes. Those are the two ranges that I mark off. 15 minutes and 60 minutes. Yeah, for sure, Rocket. I saw that we bounced at that 200 level, 25, 200. It was also a high volume node. It was the anchored VWAP from the swing low. Like, there was lots of reasons for it to bounce there. I took some profit, didn't take enough. I was expecting it to go lower, so that was my bad. Zooming in a little bit to see how it reacts at this initial balance. Low, also high volume node. If we get a strong sell off from here, might be an opportunity to short. Better short, I think, would be from 25 to 90. Where is our point of control? Oh, you know what? Session volume profile for the current session. The point of control is sitting up here too at 272. Even more reason to wait until it gets a little bit higher to take a short. You know what? So the definition of a failed auction is with a 30-minute candle. So if there's a candle that wicks outside of the initial balance and then it closes back within the initial balance range, that's a failed auction. So on the 30-minute time frame, we have 3 minutes left. But if this candle closes up above 25, 245, that's a giant wick on that failed auction. Dang. So on that, typical like trading targets would be the midpoint of the range. And look at that. Wouldn't you say it's at 25,290? So if you're in a long, that's a good target. There you go, Waffles. Lots of confluence for your target. Get it. Come on up to 290, and then I'll enter a short. Check the structure for a reversal. Yeah. So again, like I say, this is an area of interest that I'm watching. There's lots of confluence for that being a target for longs, for sure. Since we've kind of been in a downtrend, looking for a pullback for shorts, but I don't just set sell orders blindly. What I would do is wait for a seller's reaction. So hopefully that's clear, because I know some of you guys are like copy trading me. Don't just immediately enter a short at 25,290. That's not what I'm saying. So what I would watch for, let me move this giant red dot. When I go to the 1 minute, it's huge. Get my beautiful artwork here. So if price like comes up here and then it starts to kind of slow down and get like super choppy, and it's slow and it like drags up to this level, like you can tell that it's slowing down, and then all of a sudden there's a giant red candle. Like that's the kind of price action for me that would make me enter a short. So I don't just blindly do it. I know there's some people that say you need to use limit orders. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. It's closing back within the range, you guys. Looking at that 30-minute candle, it closed inside the range. So that's officially a failed auction. Holy cow, that was a giant wick. Well, 18 seconds. It's not official yet. That wick, man, from here to the initial balance low, that was a 51-point wick outside of the range. Wow. You guys, I'm going to be totally honest with you. That faked me out. I thought we were going a lot lower. Jeez. Now, after that giant buy up, I don't even know if I want to take a short. Maybe I should just call it a day and be done. I've been all sorts of turned around today. Goodness. Well, at least I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong, right? Pride isn't my problem. Maybe greed. Having too big of targets. I only scaled out 20% of my position. I should have taken off quite a bit more. You live and you learn. All right, it's coming up to the New York anchored VWAP right now, which is kind of sitting around this high volume node from this session at point of control. Let's see if it rejects here or if it comes back up to that 290-ish area. Yeah, I'm with you, Waffles. I went through that stage though when I was like first getting into trading. I think it's the marketing of, all these courses where they're like selling signals, and then there's bots all over the place that like, we'll just trade your capital and we'll make you a billionaire. Like they make it seem like it's so easy. Just copy me. So I definitely joined one of those groups and tried the copy trading, and yeah, not good. I'll save you guys a lot of money by telling you, don't copy trade, don't join a signals group, don't get a bot, like anything that sounds too good to be true, where you anything other than like learning and putting in hard work is probably too good to be true. And you shouldn't do it. Apparently I had to touch the hot stove to learn that lesson myself. No algo trading. Okay, so I'm obviously not an AI genius, but I just feel like there's no way. Like, how can there be this magic bot that knows all with the markets? Because someone has to lose, right? Like, that's how trading works. Some people win, some people lose. So if bots actually worked, who would be the losers? In my brain, I don't understand how that works. Yeah, the other bots, I don't know. So how do you know which bot to buy then? Yeah, again, too good to be true. The losers would be the bad coders. Okay, so then if I'm going to spend thousands of dollars on this bot, how do I know which one is the right coder? I hope you guys know I'm joking. I'm not going to buy a bot. I don't think it's a good idea. There's another big, since I'm a day trader and like uh, all the algos and marketing bots are listening to me, that's what my news feed is with all the ads. There's another one out right now that's like, are you wasting all of your time passing prop firm evals? We'll pass it for you. Like, really? Why not learn to trade? A prop firm eval is like $100 or less. I'm going to pay you $500 to pass my eval? And then I don't even know how to trade anyway. So then I'm just going to blow my funded account that I just paid you $500 for? Like, WTF? How does that make sense to anyone? Dumb. I hope no one is falling for that crap, but obviously they are because they're paying for Facebook ads on it. There was no profit split on that. So you just paid them a fee. I didn't click on the ad, so I don't know what the fee was. But you pay them a fee. I'm sure you have to buy the prop firm account, and then you pay them a fee to pass the eval for you, and then you get this funded account because you don't want to have to waste time to pass an eval. So I guess there wouldn't be a profit split. You just pay the fee. But then you're going to blow the account afterwards because you don't know how to trade, right? Yep. Get rich quick. Sign me up. And pay me in Bitcoin. It's not a scam, but I only accept payment in Bitcoin. Nice, Alex. Look at you. 2 growth accounts funded. If you didn't see it, they're having a 40% off sale right now. You can grab yourself a couple more. Still kind of rejecting that New York anchored VWAP, but holding above initial balance low. Let's see if we continue back up. It's chopping around in here. Engulfing candle in the 6 minute. I have never looked at the 6 minute chart. I guess that's easily divisible by 60, or it is divisible by 60. So that's an interesting time frame. Waffles, you mentioned looking at the 4 hour. Yeah, I can see it on the 4 hour. I mean, it like almost filled that fair value gap there. And we had this level here at like 25,240-ish. That's kind of the level that I put in my game plan last night. Like if we hold above, longs, if we hold below, shorts. So we wicked below it, but now we're looking like we want to close back above. I mean, we still have almost 3 hours left on that 4 hour candle, but still on the 1 hour candle, that 1 hour did close back above, and now we're continuing up so far. Looks like longs are the play, you guys. Well, again, I got faked out today for sure. Looking at that higher time frame and kind of seeing how we bounced, we've had such a strong move back up, reclaiming that 245 level that I was talking about. I would really need to see some strong selling pressure to take a short here. I'm not as convinced anymore. This red line right here, that is an anchored VWAP from this recent low. So this low over here on Tuesday, the 7th, I anchored it from there. Anchored VWAP. And funny enough, that's kind of the general zone with other confluences. That's where we bounced today. It's struggling. Yeah, I like anchored VWAPs. It kind of helps me see who's in control. Like this light blue one is anchored from the New York Open. So breaking and holding above that would kind of show that buyers are back in control for this session. As of now, sellers are still in control and have the momentum. This green anchored VWAP is from the all-time high. So the high that we made last night. Was that last night? That's another reason that that's kind of my target. So if we reject from there, we could see more downside. If we break above that, then shoot. We could go back to up to initial balance high or higher. I'm not getting that vibe though. Like this thing is definitely slowing down. It might just chop somewhere in this range for the rest of the day. Unless some Fed speaker comes out and says something big. Mohammed, you're long on yes. Yeah, it's looking like that is the trend. Targeting 791, that's where I have my VWAP. I don't know if you're a VWAP trader, but that makes sense to me. Oh, old Cracker Barrel, that's good to know. I might need to fix that link. Thank you for telling me. No, you don't need to go create a Streamlabs account. That's the Lucid link right there. Yeah, I just took a look at that Streamlabs thing that popped up. Nope, that's not the right link. I'll change that today. What do I think about crude oil? I actually have not even looked at the crude oil chart in months. I have it over here. That's crude oil, right? MCL? Isn't that oil? Tell me if I'm wrong. What do I think? I think that I would not be good at trading this because it looks pretty choppy to me. People have been talking about YM being good. That was a big drop down. All right, let's go back to NQ. What are we doing here? Chopping around here. So a break back below initial balance low to me would mean shorts going down, downside. We're rejecting that New York anchored VWAP, but it looks like it's holding. It looks like it's trying to break above it. I'm not thinking shorts from here. If I take a short, it would be from 290. But I don't even know about that. MB Trader, yeah, I haven't used that feature at all. There's a voice channel, and then I don't know if there's a way for me to do like basically a share my screen trading thing in there too. I don't know if I need to add like a video channel or something. I've thought about doing something like that maybe as the community grows and do something like a power hour stream just for people inside Discord, or like sharing trading ideas or trainings, or I don't know. Haven't really gone down that route, but it's a cool feature to have. All right, you guys, we're definitely getting into that low volume noon-ish hour. So I'm going to call it a day there. I've actually been doing a lot more with TradeZilla. I used to track all my trades just in a Google spreadsheet, but I bit the bullet and paid for TradeZilla. And I like their reports where you can generate a report on the time of day trading. So my profits at the New York Open are great. And then I'm actually in the red if I trade between like noon and 2 o'clock. So I need to stop doing that. Time to cut it off. Go for a walk. I'm going to go walk my dog. Oh, cool, Yartex. I'm glad you're liking it. If you're a data nerd, like I know a couple of you have finance backgrounds and stuff. If you're a data person, TradeZilla is like candy. There's so many fun things you can do with it. So I can definitely spend way too much time in TradeZilla. All right, you guys, I'm going to call it a day. I'll see you in Discord and have a great afternoon. Talk to you later.